We have located Don McPherson for his weekly appearance, brought to you by Fellman Brothers. Don mysteriously vanished, but we have refound him, and he is back. What's going on, Donnie?
Not too bad. How you doing, Brian?
I am good. So I want to hit you with a couple of things here today. Maybe start with the conference realignment stuff and what's going on the West Coast and all. Like it's just what do you make of this, Don? I mean, you played in such a different era. You weren't even in a conference. How wacky is this for you to observe it going on, seemingly never ending?
It's really unfortunate, and I'm a college football buff and junkie, and I trace this all the way back to the early 90s when we had two split national championships, 90-91, and everyone's been trying to get to a true national champion in the Division 1A, FCS, FBS, whatever you want to call it. You know what? Now it's just the chasing of the dollars, and what's so unfortunate is that so many great rivalries have been thrown out. I know the Backstreet Brawl is this weekend, and so many great rivalries like that. They threw out, and then they're trying to get back, and they're trying to get back to some traditions that made college football what it is. But as far as I'm concerned, the whole thing is a mess. It's going to lead to, I said this even schools like Syracuse in the next few years having to make a decision about whether or not they want to, spend $20 million on payroll for football players that Ohio State has, and it's a mess. And it's a result of a lack of leadership, innovation, and creativity on behalf of the conference commissioners, the NCAA, college presidents, who could have been out in front of this, who could have kept some integrity in the sport. And I think it's just a mess. The way the Pac-12 was trying to save some identity by letting in Fresno State and some others that would not otherwise be in that conference. Everyone's just trying to stay alive and stay in the money.
Yeah, so I saw some comparisons to whatever this first iteration of the Pac-12 is going to be. It's like when bands are still touring, but like none of the original members are in the band. Like we're calling it that, but we don't know who these people are.
Exactly, and I get it if the Pac-12 wants to be a conference and then be at the level of Conference USA and the MAC and play that level of football. Fine, then you maintain some sort of conference identity. But I think the biggest sham is having Stanford and Cal and SMU in the ACC. I mean, just the whole thing. The Big Ten does that. When they do their telecast, they have the school logos pop up in the regions. Mm-hmm. now the Big Ten spans, the entire country, and it's just the whole thing is it's shameful because it's so obvious a chasing of the money, and what the NCAA had been trying to do for decades was to get the money out of it, to get the dirty money, the donors, the boosters, the agents out of it. And then what they've done is they've swung the door wide open. It will not be long. Baker, the head of the NCAA, has been talking about letting gambling in and the fan duels and all that. I mean, it won't be long until they've completely sold this whole to the dollar. And in my opinion, sold out student athletes, sold out the Academy of Higher Education, chasing the dollar, and we're going to see where that lands a lot of academic institutions.
It's whenever people ask questions about this stuff, it may not be easy to figure out where the money is coming from or going, but that is always the answer. If you can follow the trail, it will lead you to why something is happening with this stuff. And I say, like, people, why are you talking about these West Coast schools, right? It's like one of these things you never know which of these weird things, right, will affect Syracuse, right? You never know which is going to set off the next, like, crazy avalanche and all this stuff.
That's right, and Syracuse is going to play Stanford next, and Stanford's last opponent was Cal Poly. So do we have to look at Cal Poly and figure out what the heck is going on? I don't even know where Cal Poly is, and I've been on 400 college campuses over the last 30 years of my life. I don't even know where Cal Poly is, right? And so that's now we have to scout Cal Poly because that's Stanford's last game.
I know this. They're doing a lot of smart stuff. Where is Cal Poly? Well, they're in San Luis Obispo. There we go.
San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, there we are. They're doing a lot of really smart stuff there. Not so much with the football, Donnie. Not so much with the football.
That's right. Maybe that's why I don't know who they are.
Yeah. No. They're. If you need something engineered for you, they're probably the people to call. They'll knock it out of the park on that.
Those are your guys. That's right.
All right, we got Don McPherson here for our weekly visit. Let's do a little football on this because we're going to have Dane Brugler from The Athletic on next hour. And Dane wrote a nice little piece earlier this week. He does it every week where he, here's the 10 guys or whatever that caught my eye this week in getting ready in his prep for the NFL draft because he's a draft analyst. And the first guy this week he previewed was Kyle McCord. And, really liked his anticipation, spotlit a couple of really nice plays and throws he made from the last game. And, we were talking about this in postgame. It's kind of hard to adjust our heads, right? Because we haven't had this NFL quarterback talk around here in a while. What are you seeing when you look at Kyle? Not for this level. We love him at this level right now. What do you see with Kyle that projects forward to the NFL?
It's always hard for me to figure out where the NFL is going with regards to quarterback play, where you see some of the guys who've come out recently who are, not the biggest guys in the world, and like Tua and those other guys who were more mobile. Kyle's not one of those guys. He's more in the mold of a Tom Brady kind of guy who's going to stand in the pocket and throw the football. He is definitely a guy who's playing right now with a tremendous amount of confidence and anticipation, and I think when you look at how he was at Ohio State with Marvin Harrison Jr. and how you see him now with Pena and Gatson, guys that he knows he can throw the ball to. When he is on time and on target, when he's on time, he is on target.
Yeah.
And he has a tremendous poise and awareness in the pocket. I think it makes him a tremendous commodity for the NFL because they still do value the forward pass in the NFL. And really, as I said, with some of these smaller, mobile quarterbacks, I think the NFL is one of those leagues in sports that if you get the right coach and the right program, you take a guy like Kyle McCord, you can build a whole team around him and be very effective.
Yeah, I mean, we looked at it. What Dane was pointing out in his article is, some of the throws, you could see the processing that was going on from McCord, right? Going from, read one to read two, like in the span of a drop back, or actually taking snaps under center, things not a lot of guys do these days. Well, when you look at, you've been through this quarterback stuff, Donnie. When you look at the mental capacity, right, the processing, I get the athletic ability is really important, right? But how important in comparison in that mix is the ability to, get to the line and know exactly what the defense is doing before the play starts so you can be ready to do what you need to do?
Yeah, I was fortunate that I had an offensive coordinator in George DeLeon. We did a lot of things offensively, which meant we had to simplify how we saw the defense. But we did so much. And I remember talking to Donovan McNabb after he spent a little bit of time with DeLeon, but the offense we ran here was so complex that it forced you to look at a lot of things at the line of scrimmage. It forced you to really study the defense. And you saw that, and what Donovan told me that was by the time he got to the NFL, you're calling out so many variables in the offense that you do have to have a coach on the field behind center. And that's the thing about Kyle McCord that you hear Fran Brown talk about, you hear Nixon talk about, the offensive coordinator, that he's very smart. He's another coach on the field. That will serve him well as this season progresses when they have to make adjustments, but it's definitely going to serve him well in the NFL because those offenses are extraordinarily complex.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to watch how his NFL prospects develop over the course of the season. Obviously, with more success will lead to stuff like that, but he's off to a great start here. We got Don McPherson with us as our weekly Thursday visit, brought to you by Feldman Brothers. And, week 3 bye, Donnie, how do you think this hits? It's, they're rolling. You get the nice win last week against Georgia Tech. How do you handle a bye this early in the season? You get to it mid-season, right? Like it's a lot of recuperative stuff on the body. How do you handle a week 3 bye here?
As I look at the schedule, it's not that bad. And the reason why I say that is because they won't get into conference play until mid-October. So they've got the bye. Stanford has a bye this week as well. They've got Stanford and the Holy Cross both at home. I think it's not that bad to have a bye now. Because now you can get some rest. Anybody that's a little dinged up, and hopefully gives Marlon Wax a little bit more time, obviously, to get Marlon Wax back. But you're a little bit dinged up from guys coming out of camp. This is actually not a bad time to get 2 games under you, to see how you play, see how you communicate in game, get some rest, get some guys, healed up a little bit, and then you have, a couple games, non-conference games before you get into your conference schedule, and that's when you want to be hitting on all cylinders. That's when you want to be playing downhills, as we used to say. And so I don't think it's that bad of a time to have a a bye because of the lack of a preseason in college football. You just had your preseason. You got a week off to rest up a bit, and then you get into conference play in another month.
We're doing the post game last week, Donnie, and you were airing the Fran Brown press conference. I know we both caught eyes when Fran was still talking about the stuff that Georgia Tech said during the week and how he took that personally and how it really bothered him. Like, we're talking about it. We knew it was meaningful, but then like social media and everything, that caught fire. Like that grabbed the country. It felt like for a little bit to be 2 games in and to be able to, have a pulse, I guess, or have the college football world paying attention to you. What do you think that can lead to here going forward when you're thinking of recruiting and just general awareness, I guess, of the Syracuse football brand at this point?
I think you're starting to see, and the country's starting to see why Fran Brown was rated so high as a recruiter, and his authenticity and his emotion, his love of the game, his love of young people, of the guys he coaches, including his son who was right there. Once you start paying attention to the rhetoric, because he said, I took this personally, and then there's Kyle McCord playing really well. He's got 8 touchdown passes. He's tied for first right now in college football. And so all of a sudden the football world's going to pay attention, but then those other things are going to bleed out. Those comments that he makes, him hugging his son and right after the game was just such a beautiful thing to see. Those kinds of things, to your point about the national media attention, are going to say, wait a minute, what's going on in Syracuse? Right? These guys are 2-0. They just beat Georgia Tech. They beat Florida State. Kyle McCord is throwing the ball really well, and the ACC is down. So all of a sudden it's like, wait, who's got a shot at the ACC? I don't get into this. We joked about this last week with the Pop-Tart Bowl, and everyone starts talking this early about bowl games and Heisman Trophy and all that. But it's really interesting and compelling to look at the rest of the ACC right now and look how well Syracuse is playing, save for that last few minutes of last week's game when they let a little bit of air on the tire. This is a team that could play for the conference championship and get into the playoff with a 12-team playoff.
Yeah, I'd say, and I imagine a lot of other teams, right, Donnie? 12-team playoff, like it's the first year, right? For a lot of teams that you can have these dreams. I imagine that's got to be a lot of fun in locker rooms to have dreams like that actually have a shot as opposed to previous years.
It really is, and I was one of those people saying that there's no way, even if Syracuse won 10 games, that they might not get into the playoff just because strength of schedule and reputation. I go back to Florida State not getting in last year was totally a matter of opinion, but it was a team that won 12 games and didn't get in. But now Syracuse has if they win that conference championship, if they get to the conference championship with 10 wins, they've got a shot at the playoff. So it's a pretty interesting dynamic now. You're right. In every locker room, no one's out. Florida State's not out of it. They can still, pull off a conference championship. Although it's going to be really tough for them, but everyone's still in it, which is a great thing for the game. Yeah,
a lot more teams in the ACC having those dreams than on a standard year over the last decade, right? When in Florida State or Clemson, they stomped out all those dreams.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Well, we'll be looking forward to any bye weekend plans here, Donnie. What you got going this week with no Cuse football on the table?
You're kidding me? It means I don't miss any other games.
There you go.
I'll be on my couch watching college football on 3 different monitors. It's going to be a great day.
Well, that's what better setup could you have than that? All right, Donnie, good stuff, man. Always good to chat. We'll talk again next week, all right?
All right, Brian. We'll see you soon.
There he is, Don McPherson. As it says on our screen, the rightful 1987 Heisman Trophy winner. That's not opinion. That is fact-based journalism right there. Facts. Absolute facts. All right, we'll take a break here. Your calls when we come back, 315-437-7644. Always good to chat with Donnie, brought to you weekly by Fellman Brothers Automotive. A couple things to get into going forward. It's just a little recruiting nuggets. Not big ones, just little recruiting nuggets. Bills game tonight, next hour. Our visit with Dane Brugler of The Athletic. He will break down his breakdown of Kyle McCord. It's a breakdown within a breakdown. All that coming up down the line today. It's Q Sports Talk. It is ESPN Radio.